Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now, I want to say thank you. I was just on an investment call, looking into investing in a sports team or a company. And we were talking about the YouTube channel investment opportunity. And I went to the site and saw where we were. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the supporters. It's the deadline is nearing. You can look at the actual days, hours, minutes, and all of that on the link in the description. Thank you so much for joining me on this venture so that we will be partners. And I'm going to be working my butt off now because I got to look out for you too. And thank you for looking out for me and being a blessing, to me and my family, just coming in and joining me on this, because I know if you're a partner, that lets me know that you're gonna watch every video and let it play all the way through and not be mad and complaining when you see an advertisement come up, because you own part of it. So thank you for that. And some people don't understand it and all that. I get it. We aren't taught financial literacy and the importance of investing growing up. We just don't learn about it. And so we watch and we see other races and demographics, get wealthy, and you talk to them and they be like, well, I diversified my portfolio. I invested in this and this and this and this and this. And I rolled with it. And then boom, I'm 65 and I got millions. And we're like, man, how you did that? And they're like, look, you could have did the same thing. And then they tell us like, listen, you could have did 100 a month into this right here investment vehicle. And at 60, 65, you would have had this. I'm like, what? I wasted that on food. I wasted that on clothes. Like, so you mean to tell me I didn't have to work until, for the rest of my life? Like, I could have had a retirement. So it's something I encourage you just to be learning about on YouTube for free. Like, you don't have to go to college to learn about investing. It's videos on investing in stocks and investing in everything and anything, and just get the knowledge. So thank you for that. But wanting to pop on here and talk on this here because I did a video on what was it? Instagram. I put a video up on a reel, and I was talking about how what P. Diddy is going through, it is a warning to all men on all level, because it's spiritual, and it's spiritual warfare, but it's also it's principle based. And when I say principle, what I mean by principles is I mean universal law, which says what goes around comes around. What you sow is what you will reap. What's done in the dark comes to the light. We have these principles of life that have proven themselves over and over again, but yet men and women still ignore them. Just like the lady who is the mayor or governor up there in that city by Chicago, who is allegedly stole all that money and doing all these trips. And just like the lady in Atlanta, Fannie Willis or whatever, sleeping with the man, allegedly sleeping with the man who was doing something else with the Trump situation. And it's like it's women and men. And then you see, remember I think his name was Gillum, the politician in Florida, who got caught in all kind of debauchery. And then we seen Harvey Weinstein, all that money. See how he looking. A couple weeks ago in prison, something happened. I don't know if they said stroke or some treatment he had to go do. He looking like he about to die. Then Epstein, which I had never heard of this guy. We see about the Epstein thing. Bill Cosby and all the 20, 30 plus women come out on him. And then the women start coming out on Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons, he's 100% guilty, because if he wasn't, he would not have went to Bali. And I just found out last night there's no extradition or whatever it's called, where Americans can get somebody out of Bali, that they don't have a relationship. So he went somewhere where he can sit over there with his legs crossed. And I heard a gentleman who used to do the security for P. Diddy was talking about him and his friend. They went over to Russell Simmons' house, and he had a man in a bikini thong on his bed. And this man ain't got no reason to lie. You not a black man ain't finna lie on a black man about stuff like this. And so then we hear all this stuff with P. Diddy, and now we see and we hearing all of this news. But this is the thing. I don't want you to feel safe and to feel insulated because you live in a town of 5,000, or you live in, or because you don't have millions of followers online, or because you don't have millions of dollars. Like, the porn that you have on your phone and on your laptop is going to be exposed to your daughter, to your son, to your wife. The stuff that you're doing in the bathroom, in the bedroom, in the hotel room is going to be exposed. You don't have forever. If you take grace for granted, grace will no longer be granted. How many things have we done as humans that no one knows about but God? How many things have we done as humans that no one knows about other than God and the people that were involved with it? And if everything that we've done was shown on the TV screen, shown on the internet, what would people think of us? But the fact that it hasn't been shown yet doesn't mean that it won't be, if you continue to do what you're doing. Just like right now, we're having this season of awakening. And these podcasters, it's a lot of podcasters. I mean, I lose followers every week, every day, because I'm telling the truth. I'm not losing followers because I'm being exposed of anything. I will lose followers sometimes just because of how I say stuff and just what I'm saying and it offending people. But there are podcasters and YouTubers that's losing subscribers and losing followers and losing supporters and listeners because they are being held accountable and they're being exposed. And it's like, hey, why are you saying you're a man of God and you're a Christian, but in your grown big age, you are in willing, unrepentant sin, and you're doing it arrogantly, and you're playing in our face like we are idiots, and you're sending us one message, but you're doing the opposite. So why are you doing this? Unfollow. And that's happening. And so just like that's starting to happen, and y'all told me that the two young brothers in Atlanta with the podcast come out recently and say that they're in relationships and they've been abstinent for 5 months. No one knows if it's true, but I could believe it, and I hope that it is true. But I also know why. Because even they see the exposure, they see the damage of presenting messages and having all these preachers and all these pastors and all these prophets and all these people talking about Christianity, talking about abstinence, talking about godly relationships, and then you sitting there up under it and not living it. They see the hypocrisy in that. So they're saying, hey, let us get right before we go through what the guy with the yellow couch going through, or with AO at the table going through, the scrutiny and all of that. So we can't look at this P. Diddy situation, and this is for women as well. Like, imagine if your son go in your room one day while you sleep, you at work, and he going and he looking, and he's like, man, I got this hangnail, and he go and he find a lockbox, and then he go to digging around and he find the keys and he open it up, and you got a 10-12 incher in there that you wearing yourself out with. He find that, he will never see you the same. Your daughter find that. Imagine your daughter say, daddy, let me hold your phone real quick. I want to look at this thing on YouTube. Get on your phone, and next thing you know, a ad pop up, or one of your notifications pop up from your such and such hub, from your only.com, and then he, whoa, or she like, whoa, what's going on, pops? And I done heard clients tell me about that, like the nasty stuff they found coming up in their parents drawers, dressers, under the bed. And this stuff then turned into generational curses. It turned into generational because now the kids see it. I remember looking at the covers, the VHS covers of my cousin daddy had a drawer up under the TV, and it wasn't locked, and they wasn't home. They at work. We over there. It's in the summertime. We over there. We go in the drawer, and it's like a white woman in a leather bathing suit with a whip, and she on the cover, and it was a nasty movie. I remember my other cousin house because my parents were saving in the church, so we ain't had none of that in our house. I couldn't even watch PG-13 movies. And so I'm at my other cousin house. She got a single mom, and we go up under the bed. We in her mama room. We get up under the bed, all the nasty magazines, all this right there. So guess what? We got turned out at a young age. We got exposed to this from what we found from parents. And so I want you to realize and understand. And it's like, yes, that wasn't in my house, but guess what? It was in the houses I went to. So you got to think about that when you let your child stay the night at somebody's house, when you let your child go hang out at somebody's house. I remember being with my cousin, my first cousin, and she decided after her husband punched her in the eye, she decided she wanted to be gay. We went over to this gay lady house. The gay lady had a grandson, and I go into his room. We sitting in there talking while my cousin and his grandma, I think it was his grandma that was over there, my cousin, while they out there talking. I didn't know back then my cousin was lesbian. I didn't know what that was, and I didn't know the lady was. But as I got older and I look back, I'm like, oh, both of them is what my auntie called it. She used a derogatory term, but my auntie was also lesbian, the auntie, but she used to call women bulldaggers. And I ain't know what that was. I couldn't even really picture it. I was picturing like pin the tail on the donkey when she said bulldagger. I'm like, what is a bulldagger? And like, what is that? I just pictured pin the tail on the donkey because it dagger and bull. And so I learned, and I'm sitting in the room, the young man, he put something on the TV, and I don't know if it was a nasty channel on the TV or if it was a VHS in the TV, and it was just the squiggly lines going down it. But in between the squiggly lines, it was like porno, but you couldn't really see it because there was so much fuzz and static and squiggly lines on the TV. I don't know if it was a certain channel that he got to, and he was like, and then he turned to me and he say, "Yeah, you see them bumps in your face?" So I had to be in middle school, at least 7th, 8th grade. He was like, "You see them bumps in your face?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Well, you know what that is, don't you?" I was like, "No." He was like, "That's bite." He was like, "That's cum." He say your cum is biked all the way up to here. He say that's why that's why the bumps got a little white stuff on it. I had acne. He said that's why you got that bump. He said, you know, when you pop a bump and it be white at the top, the white stuff come out. He said that's cum. I said, "Oh yeah." Nah, I wasn't bit more dumb than the man on the moon. I'm like, "Oh really?" He was like, "Yeah, so what you got to do is you got to jike off." And he was like, "So like with this right here that's on the TV, like if we jike off," he was like, "What happened is that cum start to go down, 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 down." And he say, once it get down to here, them bumps will be gone out your face. He was like, "Cause yeah, I used to have bumps just like that. But then when I started jiking off and I got that cum out my body, then the bumps went away." I was like, "Oh, really?" He was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You want to jike off?" Like, "No, I'm good." I was like, I'm cool." He was like, "Oh, okay then." So right then, this young man was already gay, but his grandma gay. My first cousin was gay. So all this right here. So he's sitting in the room, he trying to turn me out. He wanted me to whip out with him, and we probably 12, 13 years old. So imagine how, and this the type of stuff, see, because I know about this stuff, then that's how I look at men differently. So I'm like, my life wasn't special. Like my life wasn't no different than any other black man life. So if you a grown man in your 40s and you comfortable sitting on a yellow couch, what did you do in that situation when that man when that little boy asked you as a little boy, did you want to whip out? Did you say yeah? And then that input that demonic spirit of lust and lasciviousness to where you can't get married and be faithful. So we can't look at this P. Diddy thing as just, oh, P. Diddy's so nasty. That's the spirit a little ugly on steroids. That's the spirit that's unchecked. That's the spirit. Because see, nobody, the way I'm talking to these podcasters and these pastors and these politicians, these principals, these police officers, the way that I'm talking to these head coaches in football and basketball, the assistant coaches, all of these people follow me online. All of these people, like it's men who follow me online who is cheating on their wife, who is single and not abstinent. They follow me and they sitting there and they watching me and they watching these videos, and these videos got them either up in arms, mad, sitting on couches, being the victim and crying and trying to get people to attack me for bringing accountability to the body, or they are radio silent. They not hitting the like button. They ain't commenting because I'm crunching on toes, stepping on toes. And the reason why I could walk heavy, the reason why I could walk boldly, because I don't even masturbate. I don't watch pornography. I don't masturbate. I don't watch porn. I don't cheat on my wife. I don't fornicate, adulterate. I don't text flirt. I don't DM flirt. I don't gamble. I don't smoke. I don't get drunk. I don't curse. I read my Bible every day. I fast a good portion of the day. I'm taking care of my mind, my body, my spirit. So that's why you see, that's why you done seen I done lost 10, 20 pounds, because I'm consecrating. That's why you see a fresh anointing. That's why you see me being serious and me going after this thing. Even though we get us a couple little laughs here and there, you know it's still serious. And I just put a little bit of sweetener with the medicine. But it's some reckoning in the body right now. It's some accountability in the body right now. I hit up Ocho Cinco the other day. I said, man, bring me on you and Shannon Sharp show, man. And I just want to ask Shannon in person for all of the world, why aren't you married? Like, and what do you have against women? What do you have against marriage? Ocho was like, man, Aunt doing this thing, man. Aunt living. I said, I get that. I understand it. I said, I ain't trying to force the man into marriage. I just want to have a conversation to understand his perspective. So maybe I can help and address that. Maybe because my audience, majority of women, I could send a message from that side of the aisle, from the Stephen A. Smiths and the Jason Whitlocks and the Shannon Sharps and the Deion Sanders, all of these successful black men that got an audience and they not married. Like, I just want to understand why. Like, I'm not saying you got to be married and that's your choice, but I just want understanding of why a woman can't have the beauty and the pleasure. Why isn't these men that's over 30 and over 35, black men, not married? But we don't see countless influential white men that aren't married. We don't see influential men of any race that is influential that's not married. Like, it might be one or two. Like, it might be one or two white guys over the age of 35, over the age of 40, over the age of 50 that's not married. We have to get serious, and we got to address the demonic spirits, the perverted spirits. Like, you got to address, were you touched as a child? Did you have to do something that you did not know what you was doing, that you did not know, that you didn't want to do, that turned you out early? Did you get hurt by a woman? Did you get hurt by a man? Like, what happened to you? What did you see? What did you go through? Like, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it as a culture, as a community, why are so many men effeminate? Why is there so many men that's bisexual? So many men that's becoming gay? Like, look at Dwight Howard. That is a frightening image, to be 6'10" and to be sleeping with men. Like, I don't know what body parts and all that look like on a 6'10" person, but just to have shoulders that broad, to be wrapped up in the bed with a man, and then the article come out and it's a man who dressed like a woman named Kitty. And it's like, where does this come from? Why do we have this? What is going on? I heard about Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer, the Mexican boxer, cross-dressing and all of that, but he's been alleged to be doing drug usage. But these black men that's out here sleeping with transvestites and dealing with these like, listen, I've coached women who they deal with pro athletes, and they have went into these pro athletes' phone, and these are big, burly, strong black men. And they have found videos of transvestites, videos of the transvestites relieving themselves. They found receipts of these athletes paying $100, $200 to transvestites to relieve themselves on video. Send them pictures of meat leg on Snapchat. Like, we had Shannon Sharp go create a live and them doing audio. The audio was so good. Like, that audio is not finna be that good if that phone is not a good. It was like they had the lav mic on. You see how good this microphone sound, how close I am to this microphone. It's Shannon Sharp and Michelle on that microphone. It's like, okay, why? This is what I want to understand. Why was the pressure so heavy on this strong black man? Shoulders probably like Samson. All these muscles, and we have put this brother in a place to where he had to stage a live, and then he had to come out and lie about it. Now, see, this is something that I will ask directly. I'm doing this on my channel, but I will ask Shannon to his face, why you staged that live? Bruh, stop lying. You cannot go live. Unless somebody got your phone hacked to where they could control your phone from another location, you cannot go live on accident. It is too many buttons that you got to hit. But why you did that? Because you already big in the industry. You could have just sold your t-shirt. You could just sold your condoms or sold your pills, whatever you want to sell. You could just sell that straight up. And so he did what Kim Kardashian did. But see, when you get that spirit a little ugly in you, that's what you would do. That's what you would do. You would do anything. And I seen a post the other day talking about Kim Kardashian got a crush on Trent Alexander-Arnold. I pray somebody talk to that young man and tell him stay as far away from that woman as you can. Because she had that spirit a little ugly and spirit a little dumb on her combined. And she took that sex tape with Ray J and they flipped that thing, and she ain't been down since. Multi millions. And ain't got no discretion. Ain't got no discretion, because you could see what spirits on Kanye West, and she got married to the man, had kids from the man. So that right there, like, listen, it's some demonic stuff happening out here in this industry. But see, this stuff, the devil don't discriminate. Like, he don't just, I got to coach a client in 20 minutes, so let me stay mindful. Make sure I'm set my alarm, because I talk right on through it. The devil don't discriminate. He deals with folks on every single level. He does not discriminate. So in the city of in the little town with 500 people and no stoplights, no stop signs, no nothing, there are men touching on little girls. In the city with 50 million people, 500,000, 5 million, the same debauchery that Epstein was doing. I remember my cousin came to me and he was like, "Cuz, man, I want to start me a production company to produce flicks." And back then, it's what you call a porno, a flick. And we was able to do that type of stuff. Like, we was able to get women who would do stuff and be on camera. And so guys had it was all kind of home movies. It was all kind of stuff being made. And this on low level. Like, he told me, because I was producing real films, I was producing documentaries and stuff. So he came to me this around 2011, 2012. He came to me and told me that. I'm like, man, do cuz not know? I guess because I was in the streets with him, and I used to be hustling, selling drugs, that he didn't really believe in Christianity or like believe in Christians or pastors or anything like that. He didn't grow up in church. That was the same cousin who, it was his younger brother, that I was at his house and we found their daddy nasty tapes, VHS tapes. We didn't watch it though, but we were looking at the covers. The covers was racy enough for us. We were so young. But he was my older cousin. He got kicked out the house, ran away at 14 and got into the streets. And he spent like 20 years in the streets. No, he did time, but not for drugs. So he was smart on that side of it. He never got a drug case. He did time for other things. And he was all the way out there, all the way real one. And all the stripes that you could get in the street, he had them all. And he was a hustler and a businessman. Owned a store, did events like concerts, everything. He did it all. End up doing real estate. Now he a real estate developer, trucking company. He done it all. He a bona fide hustler. But he came to me like, "Cuz, I want to produce flicks." And here we is. We from Arbondale, Florida, home of Tracy McGrady. So we had 5,000 people. So here it is, and he wasn't the only one that had that idea, and it was other guys already doing it. Like, they was making pornos in the projects, in the hood, and ain't got nothing to do with it, but just watch it back with the dogs. Just, hey, come here, hey, this what I did to such and such. Hey, had her over here. Hey, pop that tape in. Hey, put that tape in, bro. Sit there, just watching it with the dogs. Like, ain't no money being made, but just a spirit of perversion. Just a spirit of perversion, just filthiness, just nastiness. And we just had this all on us. It was all on us. A lady asked me, "Tony, how did you come out of that like spirit a little ugly?" For one, I had the wherewithal to get married. Two, I married a strong woman that hold me accountable. I didn't marry a woman that let me run over her and treat her like crap. I married a strong woman that hold me accountable. And then three, I knew God. And I started to take God serious. And when I started taking God serious around 2010, that's when my life started to change for the better. It was 2010 that I got hired by the NBA to be a speaker, and hired by the NBA Players Association to be a speaker. That's when I got booked to my first speaking engagement, relationship retreat, with a church in like St. Paul or whatever you call that, Minneapolis, Minnesota, somewhere up there. They went to this place, and the pastor actually looked like he had a homosexual spirit on him. And I don't know if he was married, but they brought me up in there. He was the bishop. And that was my first speaking engagement. 2010, I was 26 years old. They paid me $1,500. And the NBA paid me $1,500 to talk to the rookies, and then the NBPA paid me $2,500 to talk to the top 100 high school basketball players. And I did that for the next 6 years until I was hired by an NBA team to work with the team as a mentor. And that was just for fun, for on the side. That was like 10% of my income. But what I was doing in my purpose work, with being a ghostwriter, being an author, being a speaker, being a coach, and all of that, the Lord was, at that time when I started working with the NBA team, the Lord was blessing me. My income was around $500,000 back then. It was like 2015. My income around $500,000 a year. And I was 30, 31 years old. But when I got with the Lord, and I rededicated my life to the Lord and I became committed, he took me off. A lot of these guys, they touching a 500,000 right now in their 40s. I've been there since my late 20s. And that was from the work of the Lord. That was before YouTube and Instagram and all of that. Like I wasn't doing nothing crazy on social media. I had Twitter and I had Facebook. But I created so many purpose-based products. And that's what I'm trying to tell y'all, man, is this is the type of work that you could be doing in your purpose, and you could be blessed and taking care of your family, but living a completely clean lifestyle. Even how the Lord in a recession right now, blessing my channel drop. Click the link in the description and join us if you want to. I ain't begging, I ain't twisting your arm. I don't want you in if you don't want to. Just like the Bible say, a cheerful giver. But it's not a donation. It's an investment. You will partake in the future earnings of this channel for the life of this channel. And I'm going to be here until the Lord called me home. And then even then, the video is still going to be here. So I want you to take and understand that what the Lord do when you consecrate your spirit, and see, you got to do the work. The Lord don't just come in and just cleanse you against your will. You got to consecrate your spirit. You got to come out that debauchery. You got to change your life. Stop watching porn. Stop masturbating. Stop getting drunk. Stop getting high. Stop cursing. Like, clean your life up and just do one thing at a time. Just clean your life up. Clean your heart up. We never gonna be perfect. We're never gonna be perfect. I get beside myself sometime and I get a little too aggressive. And I'll be about to threaten somebody's life. I'll be about to take somebody's life. I get a little beside myself sometime, and I have to stay reminded and stay prayerful. But I also realize I've probably been hitting my head 1,000 times because I played football from the age of 7 to the age of 21. I was on a full football scholarship in college. So I got to also understand brain trauma. So that's why I shoot so many videos, and that's why I work so hard. And that's why I produce so many companies to keep my brain working, to keep my brain active. Because if I don't, my brain will start to degenerate at a very rapid pace because of the amount of times I have been hitting my head with grown man force as a football player. And that's the same thing for boxers and MMA fighters and anybody who have had head trauma. Even kids who done been slapped in the head and pushed in the head and knocked down by their mom and dad or their brother and sister over and over and over and over again. That's brain trauma. And so that's also affecting a lot of these men. When we see individuals like these grown men who are not married, we don't know what type of demons they face behind closed doors from head trauma alone. Like Deion Sanders, I think he will make a great husband. He makes a great father. I think he'll make a great, amazing husband. I can't wait that he choose a wife and he get married and he represent that side of life as well. Not just being a great coach and a great father, but being a great husband, so that these young men who play for him could see how he love his wife, how he treat his wife, how he prioritize his wife. But we don't know what he battles with from being a star athlete his entire life. He from Florida. We from few hours apart. We do bull in the rain. You get bashed in the head. It probably was worse in his age group because, you know, he's 15, 16 years older than me, but we were doing bull in the rain when I was a jet. So it ain't no telling what they going through, what they went through, how much brain trauma. We don't know when CTE could kick in and kick our behind. And a lot of people look at like people like Antonio Brown talking about CTE. He got CTE SPM, my son was telling me. My son says it's real funny. I can't even say that that's CTE because it could also be drugs. It could also be some pills. It could also be some spirits. So it ain't just necessarily CTE, but it could be. And that's the thing. So that's why, and honestly, when I seen them guys on the pivot and they did their podcast and they went to working so hard, I'm like, all three of them guys could have a degenerative brain defect that's in the works, that's working on them right now. So I appreciate, God forbid, I don't speak that on nobody, but it's just the reality of the matter. When you done been hitting your head your entire life, it changes you, it shifts you, it costs you something. And we can't just be dumb about it, and we can't lie about that. So now it's black men have spiritual trauma, emotional trauma, and also physical trauma. And that's what we dealing with. And it's millions of black men that's in prison. I just talked to my uncle the other day for 30 minutes. He got sentenced to 40 years. You know, he gonna have to do 27 at the least, because some of it run together. He done did 18 years. He's in there for $20 worth of drugs. He was supposedly on drugs. So when they offered him a year and a day, he turned it down. And he took it to trial. Worst thing to do in Polk County, Florida. The judge of death sentenced him 40 years for $10 worth of cocaine and $10 worth of marijuana that was sold to an undercover agent out there in the street in front of my grandma's house. And he was living with my grandma. He was 46 years old, not a threat to society at all. He got arrested 2007. My book was published March of 2007. I went back to the street selling drugs in May or June of 2007. My uncle got arrested in like July, like probably on my grandma's birthday, I think, in 2007. Then my grandma died November 2007. Our pride and joy, our heart, our love. When her son got arrested and taken to jail, she ain't lived too much longer, and he was her caretaker. And she was a double amputee, meaning no legs. Both her legs got cut off, one from smoking and one from stepping on a fishbone and getting gangrene. So I come up out of it, man. I come up out of it. Sitting in my grandma's house, seeing the SWAT team kicking the door because buddy, I can't remember his name. He come knock on the door, bam on the door, running there. SWAT team coming there, kicking in the door behind him. He's sprinkling cocaine all through the house with the handcuffs on. And he running into my grandma's house because it's a house of refuge. And it's a bunch of kids in there. SWAT got guns and everything. He putting our life in danger because he want to sell cocaine in the street. And I watched my grandma bail out my uncle running, bail out my cousin Jermaine, bail out anybody who went to jail over and over and over and over. I watched my family steal from my grandma, lie to her. She give them $80 to go to the grocery store to get grocery. They come back with a jug of milk, and the rest of the $78 be spent on drugs. I come up out of it, seeing it right there, up close and personal. And so what you got to realize is we have to get closer to Christ. And the truth, as truth be told, a lot of men now, they becoming Muslim. And a lot of men are becoming Muslim out of rebellion against the white race because they feel like white people own Christianity, not realizing that the Holy Bible is not written in English. The original language of the Holy Bible is not English. The Holy Bible is not from America. The Holy Bible got nothing to do with the Caucasian slave masters. The Holy Bible got nothing to do with a white man. But that is the devil have deceived people because the devil knows the power of Christ. The devil know the power of Christ. The devil don't know the power of this prophet this and this prophet that and this all of that. In the Holy Bible, it say, I know Jesus. The demon said he know Jesus, and he might have said he know Paul or he know John the Baptist, but he was like, who is you? The 7 sons of Sceva, and he beat the brakes off the 7 sons of Sceva or whatever they were. I don't know if it was 7 of them, but they were trying to cast out. They trying to cast out demon. Time I cast you out in the name of the man that Paul be talking about. In the name of Jesus, who Paul preach about. The demon said, what? So ye got no authority. Beat them men bloody. They had to run out the house bloody, beat down to a pulp. Listen, these demons ain't scared. They fear the name of Jesus Christ, though. That's why none of these men who got a podcast won't bring me on there so we can have real conversation, because they know the illumination, not no Illuminati. They know the illumination of Jesus Christ. They know that when you shine a light into darkness, you got to be a fool to remain blind. They know that. They know who I am, but they won't have no real conversation. They feel safe with D1. And love D1, respect D1, to met him several times, but they feel safe with him. They feel safe because he not all the way there yet. He not married yet. And so when you're not married, a man assumes that you slip and fall into fornication. So if a man assumes you fornicate, then he assumes you don't have the Holy Spirit or the full power of God. And just by your semblance and just by your industry and what you do, they feel safe. Now, the brother got a fire for the Lord and he loved the Lord, but it still levels to it. So it's a reason why these podcasts, the ones who they don't need the money or the views, it's a reason why they won't bring me on to have a conversation and just answer real questions. Like, hey, why aren't you married? Like, what is it that you see in women today? Like, why is there's no woman that's like valuable enough? Like, what are you looking for in a woman? Like, they don't want to answer those real questions because they know the answer will not make sense. Because they understand, like, you're not that special. You're not God's gift to earth. You're not God's gift to women. There's no way you can tell me that out of all of the beautiful, successful Black women that not one woman is on your level, and you're not living abstinent like Apostle Paul. So you're living in willing sin. So what you're saying does not make sense as to why you're not married. And those are the questions that these men do not want to answer because of the war in the spiritual realm with these demonic spirits. And that's what I'm here through the Holy Spirit to drive out, to challenge, to contest, and to hold accountable. No disrespect to nobody, but this is all about accountability. This is coming from a place of love. We have to do better as men, as a people, as a race, as a culture. We have to do better. And I'm passionate about it. They say I'm judging, they say I'm arrogant, I'm egotistical, but then they will look at somebody like Deion Sanders, who could be known as the most arrogant Black man on the face of the earth, and they call that confidence. But when you speak in accountability in the name of Jesus, they call it arrogance. They call it egotistical. But and then when you marry and you faithful and you raising your children that you have from one woman, and you raising your children with that woman, they call this grieving the Holy Spirit, judgmental, arrogant, and egotistical. But then men who talk tough and talk with a lot of confidence, they call them a leader of men. But they can't be married, can't be faithful, can't consecrate their spirit and live righteously. But we call that leader of men. We call them men motivational, inspirational leaders, all of that. But the thing that we need the most, which is families, it's like we don't need to hear motivation. We need to see motivation. We need to see men married and faithful, raising children. That's an actual ringtone that I had a producer create and put on iTunes. I think it's called Blessed. I don't know if I took it off of that though. So it might give me a copyright strike if it's still on iTunes. But hey, I got the coach at 12. Listen, I'm gonna keep touching on this. We're gonna keep talking about this thing real. The Lord keep giving me different, folds, different wrinkles on the message. And so we're gonna stay in this vein as long as we need to. And what you're gonna start to see, just like you see them podcasters saying they abstinent. That's a result, a ripple effect of this message. That's why pastors changing their message, pastors tightening up, apostles tightening up, leaders tightening up, life coaches tightening up, podcasters tightening up. We finna tighten up the whole thing. You're gonna see people start walking right, talking right, living right. You're gonna start seeing accountability in the body. Watch what I'm telling you, because the work of the Lord will not return void. The workers, the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. So join the movement. Do what you can do. If all you could do is hit the like button, share it with everybody in your contact list, do what you could do. If you're not a voice, if you're not a speaker or teacher or whatever, or what have you, do what you can do. Join the movement. The workers are few. Hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon. Oh, click the link in the description box. Check it out. See where we at on the deadline. See when the deadline. See where we at on the progress. We already hit the goal, but you'll see the max what we could go up to. And I don't necessarily want to get there because that's 20% on my channel. That'll be gold. But if it do what it do, God bless you. Thank you for being a partner. We'll talk soon.